Brunson across the timeline. Screen from Bridges, sets him up against Harden. Behind the back, right wing, off the dribble three. He got it! Jalen Brunson is not human right now.
What a call by Tyler Murray.
Shout out to Tyler.
We're here at the 33rd Street watch party. Alan Hobb. Monica McNutt joins us. She's on the call with Tyler Murray as well. Steve Novak and the crowd behind us, just as loud as it was on Tuesday night. Monica, on that call, the video you put out, the best part is on the Landry Shamet bounce three. All of them in the booth at the same time. Bounced.
Hey, you got to do your part.
Whatever it took to get that ball to drop. But what
people keep calling out that moment, but I actually think it's hilarious that Tyler and I both get in this like stance to see if it goes down.
What was, though, the atmosphere? Steve was just talking about it, how loud it got. You're right there in the call. What was that moment like, that comeback and also the big shots that were hit late in the game?
Man, I think you can't talk about the comeback without honestly acknowledging the conversation through 3.5 quarters. Because I was one that was like, wow, this is disappointing. I would not have expected this showing in a game one from a group that I thought had turned the corner in terms of maturity. But I remember y'all saying, it's not over yet. They have come back from 17 and 19 this season, but if they're going to do it, it's time to get it started. And on cue, Jalen Brunson responds. And so down the course of that run, I think there's a lot of emotions as you're watching number 11, a former clutch player in this year, but the 2 threes each that Mikal Bridges and Landry Shamet hit, then you're like, oh, we cooking. Everybody's clicking on all cylinders. And quietly in that one, Karl-Anthony Towns had 7 rebounds in that quarter. And so not giving up second chance opportunities, getting the ball back to the other side of the floor to close the gap, all of it was so impressive.
Well, then what kind of luxury is it to have, like you just said, to have a Mikal Bridges that's spacing the floor, to have guys that haven't even gotten going yet, like a Deuce McBride, to have guys around you that you can trust? I just think about the Jordan shots. When you've got a Steve Kerr that's there, he knows he might get it, he might not. But in the playoffs, you so often see somebody step up, Landry Shamet come in and knock down big shots. What kind of luxury is that when you watch playoff basketball, knowing Jalen might be the guy, but there also might be other guys who can step up?
You know, Novi, I'd actually challenge you that at this point, when you become one of the last 4 standing, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Because the teams that survive and that can find ways to win can win in multiple ways. And for 3.5 quarters, it was like, this looks like a nasty game in January where three-point shooting has changed everything, including defense, not just offense. And then they were able to get out of the rut, so to speak. And so I think one of the things that has come boldly into fruition in clear view is the importance of being able to go into this bench and play the depth. Give guys opportunity to have the confidence to step into a game one at the Garden and show up.
It's something we saw Mike Brown do all season, giving guys opportunities so that when you get to a point like this in this season, you know who you can rely on, and they're ready to play because they had those opportunities. We did see, though, a departure from what the offense had been for 7 straight games, as if Jalen Brunson said, all right, enough's enough. Get out of the way. I'll handle this. Give me the guy with the yellow shoes. So do we see that carry over in this game, Monica? Do you expect, though, there to be a better balance? Will they try to figure out what were the Cavs doing to stop an offense that 2 teams couldn't stop for 7 games?
Well, I'm really curious to see how things play out today, because one of the things that you continue to hear from Kenny Atkinson, the Cavs head coach, is less about James Harden being on the island and more about the way their offense shriveled up in the 4th quarter, and they were not able to keep up, right? And so as much as it is about if the game gets slow, you have Jalen Brunson, no questions asked, give him the basketball. I'm curious to see what this one looks like if we get truly a high-scoring game through 4 quarters that is challenging each defense. And we know it's an offensive league. Your defense can be outstanding, but your offense, by design, has a better shot to be better.
Well, it does, and I think your point, too, about the offense and the defense, and you just think about those first 3 quarters, how bad it seemed, how dead in the water the Knicks seemed, and then you think about now we're actually talking about a bit of a juxtapose because the Cleveland Cavaliers, they are probably in the locker room talking about, are we the cold team right now? They had just played a good 3 quarters, but when you lose 44-11 that last run, you got to think Cleveland is the team trying to figure out what is Kenny Atkinson saying to them. Is he saying, we've won 2 7-game series, this is what we do, we make long series, and we somehow find a way, or like you allude to with the minutes, does this all of a sudden rear its head and show this might be the end of the road? And I think this is that game for New York to pounce. Seems like a heck of an opportunity.
All right, well, every game we have something to watch. Monica, give us your player to watch in game 2.
So I'm going to the opponents, y'all, because of exactly what you just said, Novak, and I'm watching Donovan Mitchell. He is a guy that has performed in the Garden. He's a guy, I get it, I understand. He's a guy.
It's an unpopular opinion.
He's a guy that's going to be important if the Cavs are going to even up this series. Now, what does that mean for the Knicks? Your defense has to be attentive. Will he be the guy that sees some of the double teams in this game? Like game 1, we saw James Harden get a lot of those double teams. Keeping him off the free throw line, keeping him out of the paint. Kenny Atkins said pregame that the first 10 seconds of their offensive possessions are key because he wants to see his guys get paint touches and not just settle for threes. Donovan's a guy that can get to the rim. So the Knicks have to be attentive to him because I think he's probably the X factor tonight.
All right, well, enjoy the call tonight. Monica and Tyler Murray will be on the call on ESPN New York Radio, the MSG Radio Network.
I love you back.
Coming up, Larry Johnson.
Jalen Brunson, another game to never forget. 38 points in game 1. Josh Hart, okay with not playing down the stretch in game 1. And Cat in the first game of the series, 13 points and 13 rebounds. The New York Knicks Plaza 33 Watch Party is presented by Experience Abu Dhabi, and they're all fired up. Alan Hahn and Steve Novak out there. They will join us shortly. Great to have you with us here from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pito, along with Wally Zerbiak. We have talked over and over and analyzed. Does one game predict what we might see in the next? And that's the biggest question coming into tonight.
We're going to learn a lot about the Cleveland Cavalier locker room in tonight's game because that is just a bone-chilling loss for that locker room, for that coaching staff. We'll see what kind of fight they're going to have. I think they're going to have a lot of resilience and a lot of fight. And this New York Knicks team, conversely, did not play well. They got out of there with a historic win. It's 1-0 in the books, and now they have the opportunity to really get in the driver's seat by defending home court, playing at a high level, which the Knicks are very capable of, shooting the ball a lot better, playing a lot better on both ends of the floor, and we'll see if they can build on that fourth quarter and get this series to 2-0.
All right, let's go now across the street to Plaza 33. Alan Hahn and Steve Novak join us. Guys, I don't know about you, but it took a long time to settle down after what happened in game 1. That was just so remarkable to watch.
I don't think anybody back here has settled down since that day. I don't think anybody left since that night. It's that kind of energy here in the city. That's why it's great to be out here. And Steve Novak, it's raining a little bit out here right now on us, but what we want to see is can the Knicks continue to rain some threes in the Garden tonight?
I like the whole concept of rain at the Garden, Bay, because it did take 3 quarters. There was no rain. Well, there were 4 threes in the first 3 quarters, but it took quite a while to get that going, and so it raining outside, I kind of like that. And the fact that the Plaza 33 is going to be partying, Central Park is going to be partying, in the Garden is going to be big time. But this guy, Jalen Brunson, he was lights out. This team, like Wally said, was dead in the water, and then got hot, got going, got the rust off, got the 9 days out of them, and had a historic win. It was so beautiful to see the shot making come together. It came together just in time, and thank God it did, because it was a historic win, and it might have changed this whole series. We'll find out.
Hey, Wally, the question we have for you is, can you carry over from a game? The Cavs tried to take their momentum from Game 7 into Game 1. Can the Knicks take momentum from the end of Game 1 into this game, too?
Absolutely. I think you found something with Landry Shamet with that starting lineup. I just think they're going to play a lot better basketball to start this game. You know, after a 9-day layoff, it's tough to get that just compete level where it needs to be in the Eastern Conference Finals against a team that was just in a Game 7 and won by 30. This team was playing great basketball, this Cleveland Cavalier team coming off that Game 7. They had a lot of confidence coming into this one. You could see the Knicks were running in mud for the first 3 quarters, but when they figured out and got their legs, boy, was it fun to watch in that fourth quarter and overtime.
It was amazing, and some historical perspective for what the Knicks accomplished. Biggest comeback win in Knicks playoff history. Entering Tuesday's game, prior to Tuesday's game, the Knicks were 0-304 when trailing by at least 22 in the fourth quarter. And NBA teams coming into Tuesday were 2-10,058 when trailing by at least 20 with 7 minutes to go. It's now 3-10,058. And the Cavs, by the way, have lost 2 of those 3 games, because last year they blew a 20-point lead to the Pacers in the playoffs with about 7 minutes to go. So keep that in mind. And Jalen Brunson, what a remarkable performance as he put the team on his back in the fourth quarter, scoring 11 straight points, 15 for the fourth quarter, scored 2 more in overtime. And Alan and Steve, he's now in some rarefied air. Guards to average at least 30 points over a 50-game playoff span as Brunson joins West, Jordan Iverson, Kobe, and the rest he was remarkable again.
It's the company he's been keeping with all of this run, these 4 years that Jalen Brunson has been a Knick and what he's done. And that fourth quarter performance where he scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. Think about this right now. Since 2023, he has 416 fourth quarter points in the playoffs. That's the most of any player in the NBA in that time. He is Mr. Clutch.
He is Mr. Clutch. And let's just take a second with that graphic. When you're in the conversation with Jordan and with Kobe and Iverson and Luka and Jerry West, I think sometimes you do have to step back and you just have to recognize what we are witnessing. Because when there's special games like last night, it's a great time to look and go, wait a minute, how good is this guy who has been called too small, who's been called the guy who couldn't lead a team on his own? We'll see if he can do it in New York after leaving Luka Doncic in Dallas. Well, he does it, and he does it again and again, and it's not just in the fourth quarter, and it's not just in big games. It's in the playoffs when the season is on the line. It's not a game 7, but the best defender, the best schemes, everything is being put into finding a way to stop that guy. And when you can't find a guy or a scheme or 2 or 3 guys to stop him, it means you are really special. And so a graphic like that says Jordan, Kobe, and our guy Jalen Brunson, hey, Becky Hammond, I don't know if he's too small. We're going to find out. I don't know if he's too small. But he is going to work. He's playing some good basketball. 38 points, 17 in the fourth quarter in overtime. That was an unbelievable performance.
Yeah, Bill, already shouting out Becky Hammond, letting her know, stay away from our guy. He's been proving it. Since 2021, there's 2 players in the NBA that have scored 2,000 points in the playoffs. Jason Tatum's one of them. The other is Jalen Brunson, who just surpassed that after Game 1, Bill.
And there you go. And guys, time now for our key stat presented by PwC. So you can, Wally, take a look. The stretch run here for the Cavs. We've talked a lot about their problems defending Jalen Brunson, but the offense completely fell apart, as you see down the stretch. Final 7 minutes and change of regulation plus overtime. The Knicks outscored the Cavs 44-11.
It was the building, the energy, the fans completely overwhelmed the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it was also the fatigue from playing 2 nights ago in an emotional Game 7. You could see it. They did not have their legs. They missed some makeable shots. They were playing too much one-on-one. Also, the Knicks defense, they got after it. And when you start getting consecutive stops, then the pressure mounts on the Cavaliers when it's 3 stops in a row, 4 stops in a row, 5 stops in a row. And the Knicks just continued to get those consecutive stops, which they needed. The pressure was on the Cleveland Cavalier players. They could feel it. The building was all over them. And as a result, the historic comeback happens.
Alan and Steve, you know all about playing playoff basketball at MSG. How much of a factor was the crowd and what happened in the final stages the other night?
Well, there's loud buildings, there's big moments, but there's no question. Everyone that was in that building said it was deafening, said it was different. A lot of people compared it honestly and said, I haven't heard it that loud since Linsanity, since Jeremy Lin was knocking down big shots and had the place going. Alan, you were over there. You said you could barely think it was so loud. And if you don't think that affects a player, especially when it's for you, it affects the team on the other side, too, when it's against you. I think like Wally was describing, it starts to pile on. 4, 5, 6 possessions in a row going the wrong way. There's a reason it was 44-11, like you said.
Yeah, people say I have trouble thinking when it's quiet, so imagine when the building is that loud. But how much do both of you guys think that the minutes factor in here? Because not just from Game 7 to here, 3 of the main Cavs players have played 40 minutes in that game, coming off of a Game 7 with 1 day's rest. But those 3 guys, I'm talking about Mobley, Harden, and Donovan Mitchell, are top 4 in the NBA in minutes in the playoffs so far this season. And James Harden plays 5 minutes tonight. He'll be number 1 in the league in minutes played. He's 36 years old. So I'll ask you and I'll ask Wally, how much do you think that's going to be a factor here as well?
I think this is the game where you're going to find out. Okay. Because Game 1 was such a devastating loss that took the wind out of Cleveland. Getting a win and playing big minutes like that, winning 2 7-game series like Cleveland has, they've played big minutes and got it done. They believe that's who they are and they can do it. But a loss like just happened in Game 1, I think those kind of minutes, they may show up. We may really see the difference tonight.
We'll see if they feel them, Bill.
All right, guys, we'll be back with you shortly. In fact, up next, it's Alan and Monica McNutt. Their pregame perspective. Monica will stop by as the fans enter MSG, getting ready for game number 2. Stay with us.